Hey, it is Classic Tabletop RPG Friday, so let's get ready, set, and go. Welcome back, my elites. What's up? And my returnees and greenies, which are those of you who are new to the channel. Welcome back to RPG Elite. This, folks, is the place where we put the RP back into RPG. Oh, give me your tools, tips, tutorials, and of course, real talk about the RPG space. And we do all of that to make your RPG experience more immersive and enjoyable. Before we get straight into the video today, I want to go over to the community tab. I have a new poll over there. And this poll is talking about the one-shots that we do at the end of our RPG series. We haven't done any gameplay videos as of yet. There have been people who have been asking, so now we want to get your input on how we should release these videos. We want to make it convenient for you, and we also want to make it convenient for us. I mean, come on now. These are 4-hour minimum RPG sessions. So go over to the community tab, and you're probably wondering, where is that? Don't worry about it. Link is in the description below. Click on it and let your voice be heard. And as far as the Elite Squad thing, I'll talk about that later on. All right, so let's get into it, folks. We have the mini series within a series on artifacts in Gamma World, and today we're starting 4th edition, part 1. An artifact in Gamma World 4th edition is anything left from before the time of trouble, and are rarely, if ever, understood by the PCs, or hardly anyone else for that matter. The Time of Troubles is Gamma World 4th Edition's version of the Shadow Years in previous editions. Many artifacts are items of great power that are far more valuable when used than when sold. As mentioned previously, they are usually tech level 4, 5, or 6, though some can be considered artifacts if the tech level of the PC is lower than the tech level of the object. The tech levels in Gamma World 4th edition have been expanded further from 3rd edition with tech level 0 and 6. Now, this is not really a tech level per se. This is the bottom rung of the ladder. It represents societies who have not implemented the use of fundamental things like fire or rudimentary tools. Members just use the available objects around them like sticks and stones. They simply hunt, gather, and reproduce. They don't farm. This is the most primitive, and only a simple language allows them to communicate in the most mundane manner. It has been called the Age of Energy because of the vast amounts of energy that is available in small, inexpensive containers. Computers and robots are dominant. Labor has largely been replaced by more efficient and reliable machines. Medical technology has advanced to the level of being able to grow back limbs and organs. The human body is the scientist's playground, as they can add and remove parts and still keep it functioning. Organisms are genetically altered, forming new species. Artificial intelligence is now commonplace, and there are other forms of energy besides electricity. Fusion has been mastered, and gravity is now used and controlled. It is from this era that most, if not all, of Tech Level 6 artifacts come from. Artifacts are rated by their complexity, represented by a numerical value. This is a measure of how hard it is to decipher its basic functions. Higher numbers mean higher complexity. So if you are introducing an artifact into your campaign that is not on the list, you can use the Sample Artifact Complexities table to get a rough idea of where an artifact's complexity may fall. In Gamma World 4th edition, loot is a catch-all phrase to designate several different kinds of objects. This is normally connected to defeated foes and taking whatever they have on their person. There are generally 4 different classifications of loot: junk, baubles, curiosities, and artifacts. These have an average complexity rating of 4. They are technically artifacts in the worst condition, or their usefulness is so minor that they may as well be worthless. For those who like to repair, they are a great source of spare parts, and there is generally a market for those kinds of things, running anywhere from 1 to 10 domars. This is one step up from junk, having an average complexity rating of 7. Most baubles are in fair condition, but again, may not do too much of anything. There's a good chance of finding valuable spare parts among baubles, which are worth 4 to 40 domars. Just roll 4d10. These have a complexity rating of 10. These are items that function and are of good quality. However, they don't do much or need other components to get full use out of them. They are almost always valuable spare parts, normally worth 2d10 times 10 in domar value. Now, these are devices the PCs are looking for and want, and they may wish to keep them since they have a chance of being functional when they find them. They are assigned a complexity rating under their descriptions in the equipment section of the core book, and some are devices of the ancients and useful in the field or as tools for their base. This is what PCs should roll for when doing artifact research. All artifacts are potentially useful compared to the other forms of loot like baubles and curiosities and so forth, and they can usually be sold for their individual prices, or they can be donated to their tribe or clan or base. Okay, so here we are in Foundry, and we're about to seed this campaign for all you GMs out there. And just like in the previous videos where I took 2 artifacts and seeded them in some random ruin or building or whatever for my imaginary PCs, we're going to do the same thing here, except we're going to do it differently. Instead of just having the artifacts just laying out, we're going to see this campaign with loot and by loot, which means that they are going to be on encountered creatures. So that is the first order of business that we have to get to, is to determine what kind of encountered creatures will have this artifact loot. So I'm going to go right here to my listing, and of course we're going to go to the tried and true encounter creature, the Batter. Now in 4th edition, they give them a nickname. Say this fast 3 times. Burrower. Good googly mooglies. I'm not going to say that. Okay. So in order to find out what kind of loot that these batters have, first thing you're going to have to do is choose the loot type. Now you can find that in the description of the creature under artifacts right here. And the loot type letter is going to be next to it. Now, batters have an A and a G. And when they have 2, you have to choose one or the other. You can't have both of them. So let's look at the loot table just to see what I'm talking about here. Now, right here, you have the loot type, and it goes all the way to O. And this section here is for the entire group. And this section down here, which is U through Z, is for individuals. So we're going to have an imaginary player group of 3 player or PCs, and we're going to have the same amount for the batter group. And anything that you roll for up here is for the entire group. So you have to, divvy it up between the group and how many are in the NPC group, so forth. So let's go ahead and look at A and see what we have here, because we have options. And it says that we can have some domars, have some junk, and have a tech level 3 artifact. And if we go to G here, it says that we can have some baubles, some curiosities, tech level 3, and a tech level 4 artifact. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to roll for the baubles and curiosities. but I'm going to automatically, I'm not going to roll for the tech level 3 and 4. We're going to automatically have those in terms of the percentage chance of the batters having the loot. We're just going to automatically say they have a tech level 3 and they have a tech level 4. Down here, you'll see all loot categories have a 75% chance of appearing in the loot. That means for if it shows up here, wherever it shows up, you have to roll percentile dice to see if indeed they do have that kind of loot. So let's roll for our baubles here. 75% chance across the board, even including the artifacts by tech level. So I'm just going to roll right here, see what we can get. I rolled a 78, so no baubles. No baubles. You have to roll under 75% or under. So no baubles. So let's see if we can get some curiosities here. And it appears so. Roll a 39. So in order to determine baubles, we're just doing everything random here. So you can choose these. But, just to make my life simple, especially for something like this, I'm just going to roll it randomly. So I'm going to go to the table here of junk, baubles, and curiosities. And we're going to roll 1d100 again. And it says, let's go back to that loot table because it says you have 2d10. Okay, we're not going to roll for 10 of these. So what we're going to say is we're going to say that since there are 3 batters, we're going to roll for 3 curiosities. And then we're going to break those curiosities into different components later on. Let me go back to the table here, and we're going to roll for our first curiosity. 48. 48 is a puzzle cube, which probably basically means a Rubik's Cube or something like that. So it might be like a piece of a Rubik's Cube or a couple Rubik's Cubes, but some of the squares are broken off of them or something like that. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of the different amounts. Now we are going to roll for that amount here in a second to find out how many curiosities parts that they have. But let's go ahead and roll for another curiosity. 68. That is a flour sifter. All right, a flour sifter. And let's roll for the last one, which is a 61. And that is a circuit board and chipset. That's easy. That's a whole lot easier, right? Let's go back to the loot table. And it says it is 2d10 in as far as the amount of curiosities. And I am going to roll here, and we're going to get 16. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take those 3 curiosities that I have, I'm going to break them up into different components. So we've got a flour sifter, and maybe they have the, the little screen that's at the bottom of the thing. And then they have maybe one part that is just the outside metal container that holds all the parts. So we're just going to break it all up. As far as the circuit boards, maybe they have more circuit boards than they have anything. So you can determine later on. You don't have to roll for 16 different curiosities unless you want to, but we're not going to do that for this. So flour sifter, some circuit boards and so forth. And what was the other one again? A puzzle cube. Okay, like a Rubik's Cube. All right, so we're going to go back to the loot table. And we see here that if I was going to roll for the 75% chance, I would have 1 to 2 tech level 3 artifacts and 1d4 tech level 4. But I've already determined off the top of the mind that it's just going to be one of each automatically. So I'm going to go over to the random artifacts table. I'm going to click right here, and we're going to roll 1d20 on the tech level 3 items here. So let's go ahead and roll for those. And I rolled a 2, which means a lantern is what they have, a lantern. So I will note that and write that down. And then we go over here to the tech level 4 items. Roll 1d20. 19, nice. 2d20 rounds of ammo. And it says, let me see what that little part means. It says roll 1d10 on the same table to determine the type of ammunition. Okay, so let's go back. And 1d10's over here. And let's see what kind of ammunition we got. 9. Ammunition for a shotgun, buckshot. Okay, there you go, right here. I'll move it down right here so you guys can see it. So there you go. That's how you would see the campaign, by doing it in loot. Now, on that last one, I rolled on the table for weapons and armor for the artifacts. There's actually another, right? There's another table that you can roll on that are just actually artifacts. So it's right here if you want to go to it. It's in the book. So if you get the core book, it's in there. And if you want to get the core book, again, links are down in the description below. Of course, they're affiliate links, so you pass on a little bit of link juice to a brother. He gets a little bit of Skrilla, Manila, Farilla. All right, that's going to be it for me. It's Friday. That means it's the weekend. That means that you're probably going to have yourself an RPG session, aren't you? And if you are, well, I want to wish you happy gaming. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip, God willing. Peace.